Okay guys, today we're going to talk about the officers in Warpath. They are very complicated to understand for a lot of people and very misunderstood, and I hope to clear it up a bit today. So, an officer has a few things that you can see that affect how good they are. First you can see the officer power over here. This is an estimate of how strong they are, but it doesn't really mean much. We can see here for the first and most obvious stats, probably the level, and this affects a couple of things. First, if you go to low levels here, we can see it. These skills are currently grey, so that means they're locked. And you can see here, unlocks to officer level 20, unlocks to officer level 30. This one is locked, unlocked to officer level 10. Well, so that's the first thing, level effects, and we can see here two numbers next to the officer. You can see here, firepower increases the troop firepower by 10% when deployed as its leader, and here the same for the HP, so the durability. And that affects the bonus it gives. So if you can see, if you have a level 60 officer as leader here, that means you have 30% buff to firepower and 30% buff to HP. If you had a lower level in here, for example, this level 41, we can see 21 boost to firepower and 20% boost to HP. For the secondary officer, this has no effect whatsoever on what buff they give, so usually it's best put the highest level officer first. It's a general rule of thumb. Well, how do you upgrade the level of an officer? You can see here officer promotion. If you click on this yellow button here, and you get a list of books you have, officer books, and you can use them to upgrade your officer level. So you need a certain amount of officer XP per level, and this increases every level. So for example here, level 31, and you can use a few books on it. Now we can see he's level 32, and now he needs more XP for the next level. So, and then there's the second thing that influences how good an officer is, and that is his skills. These are different for every officer, so we'll take War Machine as an example. Here you can see the tactical skill. This is the first skill of any officer, is always the tactical skill. Here it's the same tactical skill. Air Force officer are a bit different in that aspect. It's called a tactical skill, but they function differently. So if you go to here, we can see it fires every 8 seconds. And in here, in the bottom, you can see the stats. It is a bit of a description here with it. It's different for every officer, but the fundamentals are the same. And you can see here, damage coefficient 1200. So, what does damage coefficient mean? Well, it is, I don't know the exact calculations, but it is based on the firepower, and the higher this number is, the more damage it will do. And the stat which takes it away from is the unit's firepower. So if you unit more firepower, it will do more officer skill damage. And we can see here there's a secondary thing here, reducing the load time of this officer troop by 10% for 4 seconds. So after the skill fires, every 8 seconds, 4 seconds of the time, 4 seconds of the time it will have a 10% faster load speed, the unit. So it means it can fire quicker and do more damage. Then here we have 3 other skills. These are passive skills. This means these are active all the time and they just give a buff to how strong the unit is. You can see here, for example, damage buff. So this means the unit will do more damage. A firepower buff, which basically is the same. And then we can see here a load time reduction. So the unit will load new rounds quicker. And then there's the fifth skill, the awaken skill. And this will either add a completely new skill, like here in Antonina, we can see new skill. Passive skill increase the firing range of this officer's artillery unit by 1 grid. Or, like here we can see with War Machine, skill boosted, which means raining bullets, which you can see here, is primary skill. It will boost the skill and we'll set the prep time still 8 seconds, but we can see instead of 1200, it will do 1300 damage, and instead of every 8 seconds reducing the load time by 10% for 4 seconds, it will do it by 10% for 8 seconds, which means it does, after the first time an officer skill fires, it does it completely all the time, because it's 8 seconds. Well, how do you upgrade skills? Skills can be upgraded with officer statues. You can see over here, upgrade for example, War Machine statues. These are what you use to upgrade War Machine. and War Machine specifically. And then there's these universal statues. You can convert them to any officer you want, any type of officer statue, with the exception of uh, two and a few more nowadays, which are Percy. You get her statues by upgrading any officer to level 60. So, if you're a beginner at the game, you didn't know that, upgrade any officer to level 60. Doesn't matter which one, can be any officer, it doesn't have to be Percy per se. And you will get all of her statues. And then there's Guardian of Truth. You have to buy his statues from the VIP section. You can see over here. The VIP gifts till VIP 10. You can see here this one includes Guardian of Truth statues. And you also unlock him by buying the first pack from VIP 0 or 1. Yeah, and then there is these officers. These are recently introduced. Saber of the Nation, and over here you can see I haven't unlocked them. Rictus Reaper. They are from the exclusive lounge. You need to get them. So there's in the bar here. There's exclusive lounge. It opens around once a month, always about the same time, and you can transfer your drink coins, these ones, into exclusive lounge coins. You can do a maximum transferring of 120 to exclusive lounge coins per month, and you will get maximum 40 out of them, because 3 of these will make 1 of these. And then you can get his statues. They're pretty hard to get, so you can also buy his statues, but they're pretty expensive. Yeah, so those are the officer statues. Well, what's a good way to acquire officer statues? There's a lot of things here. You can see in events, for example, you can see Operation Spycatcher. This will give universal statues. And for War Machine specifically, you can get them from the Alliance store. And there's one more very obvious way, which is officer missions. What are officer missions and how do they work? Well, first off, you can see if you're going right there and you need to send a few officers on a mission. There are 5 different levels. You can see here level 1 require 1 officer, level 2 require 2 officers, and level 3 and up all require 3 different officers. But these require 4 skills, and the level 5 ones, you can't see it currently, but they require 5 different officer skills. Somewhat. Then they are not exactly officer skills, but here you can see these things. They give a 20% boosted success rate, and you need to fill all of these to have 100% success rate, because you only get this grade at 100% success rate, and this is where you can get the good rewards. So you can see a few different things: officer XP books, tech rushes, copper materials, and a universal coupon. These will be the same for every grade. How much you get just depends on the chance of getting it, and how much you get just depends on how the level of the mission. So the officer XP books, for example, can get a lower level, or you can get more of them or less. And these are the statues. So this is what we're mainly after when we're doing officer missions. And you can see here this one gives a white wolf statue, and that's because it's a Martyr's Watch mission. You can see here there's a Camp Liberty mission, and these will give Jack Spanner statues, and the Vanguard mission will give Bloody Mary statues. So it's, if you want to get them, there's only a decent, really a decent chance of getting them at level 5 and level 4 missions. The other ones, the level 1, 2 and 3 missions, the chance is very low you get one. It does still exist, but focus your main efforts on the highest level missions you can do. Most people have level 5 unlocked, but if your server is still young, they probably won't, so it will take some time. So then there's one more thing I want to talk about. These are the officer types. You can see here you have 3 things standing up here, and first off there are 3 chances that you for 4 different types for the first one. You see here artillery, which means they have skills that are specialized towards artillery or only functional artillery. For the first skill, it usually means it works better on that type of unit, and for 1 or 2 of the passive skills usually means they only work. So if you can see here, target weak on Saber of Nation deals 6% extra damage to troops, but it only works on artillery. So only artillery troops, which means anti-tank gun, howitzers and rocket launchers will do that. If you have a tank, it won't do the skill, and the same is true for this one. You can hear you see the second type is a tank officer. You can see here very clearly this is units above here for which it works better for. In this case, it's a tactical skill, so it will the troop healing, recovering 1500 health points. And if leading a tank or a helicopter troop, the damage resist will increase with 10% for 8 seconds, and it will recover more HP afterwards, which makes it stronger. And then we can see here this one works on everything. This only works for this officer's tanks. And here we can see the officer automatically recover 1% HP. And then there's some confusion. If it says here when leading an artillery troop, it basically means it's on an artillery troop. It doesn't have to be in the leader slot per se. It will always do that extra bit of damage. Then we can see here there's also infantry officers, and they're the same. And then there's the third type of officer, and they're the most of these. They are versatile. This means they don't have any skill that is geared towards one type of unit exactly. So what they will do, they have usually 4 different skills that work on every type of unit. This does not mean they are the best. No, they're equally on every type of unit. For example, War Machine here, which you have here, he's versatile, but he is usually seen as a good officer for artillery because of his loading speed increase. And artillery means the unit will do more damage, and artillery does a lot of damage. It's what they're made for. Then we can see here the second thing here. This indicates field. What does field mean? Field means they have no specific bonuses for either doing damage to bases or defending bases. We can see here Spanner. You can see here he is Siege. This is usually in the second skill, and this here I can see increased damage dealt by this officer's troop by 25% when attacking fortifications. And then there's the third type, which is Garrison. Usually the second skill again, there's some difference in this by in Steel Fighter and some other officers in the future maybe. This will increase the damage of the officer troop when garrisoned by 25%. So she will be do this 20 extra % damage when she's in the base. Outside of the base, she does not have this 25% unit damage extra. This does not mean, however, that these officers are only meant to stay in the base. Antonia, for example, is a very strong artillery officer. She is recommended to be the first officer you focus on when upgrading an officer, and well, she does very good skill damage, which is, and you can see here one increased. This means she's very good all around, but that's getting a bit of a topic here. Then we can see the third one. This one says skills. This means this officer is very good at doing a lot of skill damage. Support, which means they basically usually have something like this, increasing the firepower of all friendly troops within 2 map grids by 8% for 8 seconds. So every unit that is yours or one of your allies, one person in the same alliance that is, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work for other alliances that your alliance is peace treaty with, but it works for every single unit that's either yours or a person in your alliance. That will do something extra, and the same is here. You can see it's also support attack. What does attack mean? This means they deal extra damage. You can see here, for example, kill radius buff, firepower buff, and all the kill radius buff means they do a lot of damage. And reduce load damage, all geared towards damage. It doesn't mean all has to be, but you can see here, this one is defense. What does this mean? He'll add extra health. You can see 15% damage resist, increased firepower. It isn't defense rated, but it doesn't all have to be. And you can see a pen damage buff, and you can see here passive skill is 10% damage resist while the officer's tank or helicopter is in combat. So this means you will have very good durability. And then there is this one, which is the final type, which is mobility. This is currently only Mary, and we can see here this skill increase the officer's troop speed. So the unit will drive faster. Well, that's basically all of it for now. Hope to see you in the future again. Goodbye.